Excuse how dirty the reel is. G'day and welcome to a new video. Finally time today, 13 days post top dress to lay some stripes on this lawn. Now, if you're up to date on my YouTube videos, I'm recording this only 2 days later since the last video when I did a rotary cut on this lawn. So that's what I did. I did a rotary cut where I mulched up the clippings, put it back onto the lawn. I didn't irrigate this morning. We're supposed to get some rain this afternoon, only in a few hours, and across the next week, there's meant to be little bits of rain and storms rolling over and showers coming across to my part of Victoria, which is fantastic. So hopefully I'm not actually going to be using this irrigation. If we get, you know, say 3 or 4 decent showers in the next 5 or 6 days, then I'm really not going to be switching on my irrigation again until a week and a half or so, which is amazing. And by that time, within a week, with some really good rainfall, dare say this lawn will be well and truly filled in and looking really, really good. And I'll probably be at about twice a week watering. Something I am going to be monitoring though is these trenches. There's some wheel marks across here from rotary mowing the other day. I'm probably going to have to get to a point where I do come and hand water. There are some really good signs of life in all of the trenches. I've just accepted the fact that with, you know, apparently my kids think it's the best place to run is up and down the trenches. So there's certain ones where there's lots of foot marks through them. Walking over it. Obviously the mower is putting indentations in it. So I've just accepted the fact that I'm going to be doing a bit of leveling work around those trenches in, you know, probably 3-4 weeks time, something like that. We'll see how long it takes to actually fill in, but it's going to be a bit of time, and that's obviously going to be a bit of hand watering as well. So it will be a bit of a pain with the size of this yard and the length of all the trenches. Oh, before I keep going too, scarecrow there stops the duck, and that overspray on the shed. Scroll back to videos to before the fence was painted. That overspray, been there since we moved in, I promise. So what I've done just before, while I was getting the cylinder mower organized, was I just put on my irrigation for 1 minute per zone, just a quick little minute, just to settle down the sand a little bit of moisture on it, so that I'm not going to be picking lots up and coming through my reel. I'm going to cut at 25 mil today anyway, which is fairly tall. If my goal height and what I was going to be cutting at was 10 mil, then I'd be a lot more cautious about when I started to cylinder mow, because getting those granules of sand into that reel is not ideal, and that's something you just sort of have to cop when you decide to start cylinder mowing again post renovation. But I got that done. I've also got a product application to get done. Beautiful day to lay some stripes. Oh, and one more thing, if you've noticed, this camera, this old phone here, that has been time-lapsing for the last 2 weeks, so hopefully that makes a cool reel on Instagram as well. But anyway, let's get this cylinder mower cranking. Oh geez, that was fun, and it's nice to see some stripes back on here again. Really stoked with this recovery. It's been really nice. Found a little spot down there near that middle sprinkler head that needed a little bit of leveling work, so a bit of sand in there. With the rain later, that's going to disappear and settle in really nicely. The other section that I top dressed heavily a couple of videos ago, that's pretty much all covered in as well. There's a few little spots everywhere you look down. There's a couple of clumps where it is really dense, thick lawn, But for the most part, the coverage on here, like I said a little bit earlier, give it a week, I reckon. It's really gonna fill in nicely, especially if we get some nice nitrates and some storms over the next couple of days will be really, really good. Now, if you have cylinder mowed before, something that you'll understand is that it can come a point in time pre-spring renovation where cylinder mowing gets really frustrating. And if you haven't cylinder mowed before, what you're trying to do, obviously, is keep your stripes nice and straight to look good. They get all wobbly, and when your lawn is really thatchy and spongy, the rollers of the mower will start to, the best way to describe it is it kind of starts to slide out on you. So trying to maintain and keep the mower nice and straight, if you keep straight stripes, it gets really difficult, and it just, for me, becomes frustrating to mow because you're working so hard to keep this mower steady. The stripes aren't straight, it's just a little bit annoying. So spring renovations and ongoing work, already I'm, what, 2 weeks post renovation. In 3, 4, 5 weeks-ish is when I'll start coming across here and be kind of doing my scarifier on a light setting, my battery one, just to continue to thin it out a little bit so it doesn't get, you know, you want a thick, dense, tight lawn, but not super, super, super thick and dense where it starts to slide around anyway. So hopefully I've explained that okay. But yeah, at the moment, being able to set the speed, my walking speed that I want on the mower, and just pretty easily keep it nice and straight, makes it really enjoyable. Time for a super important application that I should have gotten done a few weeks ago. Now, I've just discovered something then, and if you watch my previous video, you will have heard me say that I was a little bit confused because I ran out of my liquid in the sprayer a lot sooner than normal. The reason is that the last time previous to that I used this sprayer, I changed over my nozzles to a coarser droplet. So that means that it was pushing out more liquid when I was spraying my fertilizer the other day. So now I need to change them back over so that I can get back to my proper calibration. There you go. Something to remember the next time I have to apply a fungicide is to change over those nozzles on the day. So today's product application is the AquaTurf wetting agent or soil wetter, which is off the Lawn Tips website. Ben said that to me, thanks Ben. And what that is going to be helping to do is retain moisture in the soil. It's going to decrease your water requirements because water is being held where it needs to be for longer. And there's lots and lots of issues that people have with hydrophobic soil and absorbing water. A good test to do is to put water on your lawn, and if it just sort of pools there, it's not being absorbed down into the soil, it's just going to eventually evaporate or run off and not be used properly. So a lot of dodgy lawns are hydrophobic. In general, it's a pretty good place to start when you're trying to turn your lawn around for sure, and especially even on great healthy lawns throughout summer when it's hot and it's dry. Any water that you get, you want to make the most of it. Just getting a couple of drops of rain here. Checked the radar just before and there was nothing. So anyway, I always use a bucket to fill up this sprayer because I need to. I need about 23 litres in here, so I'm going to do 22 litres of water and a litre of wetting agent today. Now, something with wetting agent that you will find is that it goes really foamy. And it's something I recommend is using a bucket to fill up for your product applications, because then you're getting exactly the right amount in that bucket that you then pour into your sprayer. Don't just use a hose and spray directly in there, because that's when you get that real foaming and it bubbles up and it's really hard to see the actual amount that you've got in your sprayer. So I guess I'm going to be getting this wetting agent out as quick as I can now. So I've put in 8 litres, 6 litres. I'll put in a litre of wetting agent now. It's 2 mils per square metre for this application. Something you can do as well when you get into the season, if it is particularly hot, particularly dry, your lawn is particularly struggling. And we're just going to finish that off there. A little bit extra. If it's particularly struggling, then you can do half rate every 2 weeks or something. I'm personally on my lawn with quite good, quite rich soil that doesn't get super dry. I'm going to use this every 6 weeks. There may be a time during summer if it's really hot, really dry, where I do bring that to every month. I do a kind of a monthly application instead. But at this stage, I plan on every 6 weeks because it just suits my soil profile. And that's where I'll have as a starting point, and we'll just see how the season progresses. I should have also said, and I mentioned this in my last video, this application should have been down before I was doing all of my recovery watering. That would have been much more ideal, but I simply just ran out of time, couldn't get it done. So I've gotten it done now when it's come back into a time when I'm happy to be trampling across here with my sprayer. All right, not sure what I will have just had on the screen there with that edit, because I was having a lot of trouble with an overheating camera, despite this little makeshift setup that I had with an umbrella to try and give it some shade. So I'm gonna need to come up with a solution for that long term, because there's not a lot of spots at this point in time to hide the camera in the shade on a warm sunny day. But anyway, I've just been looking at the radar and it's looking like the rain is a while off, and it looks like what's coming our way isn't too much anyways. So I want to get this rinsed off the leaf within the first few hours of it being on there, even if it's just a little bit to just wash it down off the leaf to stop burning. So I'm just going to set it for 5 minutes per zone just to rinse it down, give it a little bit of a water in. I'm sure the radar will continue to change throughout the day, as it always does, and we'll end up getting hopefully a good bit of rain tonight at some stage to really wash that down into the soil. But at this point in time, I just want to rinse it off the leaf, and then if I wake up tomorrow morning and we've had no rain and it doesn't look like we're getting much, I'll probably put them on in the morning. But either way, good application to get done. Regular mowing is going to be the key now. I'm going to be trying to get out here and mow sort of 3 times a week, every 2 or 3 days, as much as I can around life and kids and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, great to have that done. Thanks for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.